I still remember the exact moment I first saw the lake. The sunlight danced on the water like a million tiny diamonds, and the gentle hum of nature felt like a lullaby to my weary soul. After years of city life, stress, and constant noise, I finally had the chance to own a piece of heaven, a ranch by the lake. Walking through the fields for the first time, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt in decades. This is mine, I whispered to myself, tears welling up in my eyes. The property had been abandoned for years, but I poured my heart into it. I repaired the old barn, planted wildflowers, and restored the wooden dock by the water. Every nail I hammered and every seed I sowed was a declaration. This was my dream. A month into living there, I had already formed a small circle of friends in the neighborhood. Folks waved from their porches, and the local cafe owner would always ask how the ranch was coming along. Life finally felt simple and pure, a place where time slowed down and worries melted away. Then, one crisp autumn morning, everything changed. A black SUV pulled up to my driveway, dust swirling in its wake. Out stepped Ms. Hargrove, the HOA president, a stern woman with an icy smile that seemed to pierce through the air. "Good morning, Mr. Thompson," she said, her voice dripping with authority. "We need to discuss the property lines. We believe your ranch is partially on HOA land." I blinked, confused. "Excuse me?" I asked, gripping the railing of my porch. "This ranch is mine. I have the deeds, the surveys, everything is in order." She shook her head. "We have records that say otherwise. We're demanding the keys to the property until this matter is resolved." I felt my stomach drop. The thought of losing my sanctuary, my haven by the lake, made my chest tighten. "You can't just take my ranch. I worked for years to buy this land," I exclaimed, my voice trembling with anger and disbelief. Ms. Hargrove's smile didn't waver. "We'll see what the records show. Please hand over the keys." That day, I learned that dreams can be fragile. The same hands that built my sanctuary now shook with a mix of fear and determination. I wasn't going to let anyone take what I had earned. That night, sat by the lake, watching the water ripple under the moonlight. I whispered to myself, "No one will take this from me, not without a fight." The following week was a whirlwind of tension, phone calls, and legal notices. Every time I checked the mailbox, a new letter from the HOA awaited me. Their tone was formal, but their intent was clear. They wanted to seize my property. I hired a lawyer. Mr. Daniels, a kind man in his 60s with a sharp mind and a calm demeanor. "You have every right to defend your property," he reassured me as we pored over old maps, deeds, and surveys. "This HOA is overstepping its authority, and will prove it." Despite his confidence, the stress was crushing. Every knock on the door made me jump. Every call from an unknown number felt like the world was closing in. I couldn't even take solace in the peaceful mornings by the lake. Then came the betrayal. My neighbor, a man I'd considered a friend, approached me one evening. His eyes darted nervously as he said, "Thompson, I hate to say this, but the HOA, they think part of your land is theirs because of a survey mistake. Some people in the community, they want your ranch." Anger boiled inside me. You were my friend," I shouted, feeling a sting that was sharper than any financial threat. He stammered, "I didn't. I just thought you should know." I spent the next days digging deeper. Old records, town hall archives, even talking to neighbors who had lived in the area for decades, nothing indicated the HOA had any legitimate claim. I even found a survey from 30 years ago that clearly marked the boundaries of my ranch. But Ms. Hargrove wasn't backing down. She sent a team to measure the land again in one afternoon. I watched from my porch as her people walked the property lines with laser devices and notebooks, muttering to themselves. My chest tightened with a mix of fury and helplessness. Then, one stormy evening, the HOA sent a formal notice demanding immediate access to the ranch. The letter threatened legal action and fines if I didn't comply. My hands shook as I held it. My sanctuary was under siege, and it felt like the world had turned against me. I called Mr. Daniels, my voice breaking. "They're trying to take everything, Dan. Everything I've worked for. What do?" He paused, his voice steady. "We fight, Thompson. Not just for the land, but for your right to peace, to your dreams. They can't take what is rightfully yours." That night, I stood at the edge of the lake, watching the storm rage across the water. Thunder roared, lightning split. The sky and I made a promise to myself. I would protect this land, no matter the cost. The next morning, determination replaced fear. I refused to hand over the keys. When Ms. Hargrove arrived with 2 assistants, I met her on the porch. "You can't just take the keys," I said firmly, holding them tight. "This is my property, and I will not surrender it." She narrowed her eyes. "Mr. Thompson, if you don't comply, we'll escalate this legally." "Go ahead," I replied, my voice steady, despite the anger bubbling inside me. "I have every right to defend my home." She left, but the tension in the neighborhood escalated. Rumors spread, and some neighbors looked at me with suspicion. I felt isolated, but my resolve only grew stronger. I spent nights reading through old records and preparing for a legal battle. Then came an unexpected twist. One morning, a young woman approached me at the lake. She introduced herself as Emily, the HOA secretary. "I know what they're doing is wrong," she said quietly, glancing over her shoulder. "I've seen the documents. Your ranch belongs to you." Her words were like a ray of sunlight breaking through clouds. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked, suspicious but hopeful. "Because my conscience won't let me be part of this injustice," she said. "I want to help you." With Emily's help, we uncovered more than I expected. Hidden in old HOA files were documents that suggested Ms. Hargrove and a few board members had tried to claim parts of several properties near the lake for personal gain. It wasn't just a bureaucratic error, it was a deliberate attempt to seize land under false pretenses. Armed with this evidence, Mr. Daniels filed a formal complaint. The HOA was forced to halt their claims temporarily, and an independent surveyor confirmed the boundaries of my ranch. The weight that had pressed down on my chest for weeks finally lifted slightly. Though anger and distrust lingered, a week later, Ms. Hargrove returned. This time with an unfamiliar face, a mediator from the town council. "We'd like to resolve this peacefully," she said. Though the icy smile hadn't left her lips, I met her gaze, my heart pounding. "I don't want to fight. I just want my ranch. My home." The mediator reviewed the documents, cross-checked the survey, and finally spoke. "The property belongs to Mr. Thompson. Any claims by the HOA are void." I felt tears sting my eyes. Relief, joy, and vindication washed over me like the waves at the edge of the lake. With the legal battle behind me, I spent the next days walking my ranch, taking in every corner as if seeing it for the first time. The barn, the lake, the dockle untouched, all mine. But the experience had changed me. I realized that property wasn't just land, it was memories. It's hard work, and the heart poured into it. And sometimes, fighting for what's right requires courage, resilience, and unexpected allies. Emily and I became close friends, sharing evenings by the lake, talking about justice, honesty, and the dreams we wanted to protect. One evening, she said softly, "You know, Mr. Thompson, many would have given up. You didn't. That's why this victory is so powerful." I nodded, feeling the weight of the past weeks. "It wasn't just about me," I replied. "It was about defending what's right and making sure no one else suffers from lies and greed." Miss Hargrove never returned to challenge me again, and the neighborhood slowly began to treat me with respect instead of suspicion. But the real victory wasn't legal, it was the lesson etched into my soul. Dreams are precious, but courage, integrity, and standing up for what is right are what truly protect them. On a quiet morning, sitting by the lake with a steaming cup of coffee, I looked out at the water and whispered, "This is home. My heart, my work, my sanctuary." And for anyone watching this story, remember, life will test you. People may try to take what you cherish. Sometimes the fight seems impossible. But with courage, truth, and a little help from unexpected friends, you can protect your dreams and maybe even inspire someone else to do the same.